2-1 with a bitch.
Welcome back to Spark That Talk. It's your boy Jones.
And your boy Dini, a.k.a. J Latta.
That's right. Spark That Talk podcast where we sparking convos about shit that matters.
Yeah.
That's right. You heard me right. So turn up the volume on your headphones and let's get it cracking. It's time to spark that talk, baby.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Get this cracking. So, despite the pandemic, we're facing together. We know one thing for sure, and that the NFL draft will continue to press on this week with no delays. And so, in the light of the NFL draft, we kind of dedicated this podcast this week to a very special guest. And this special guest is Brandon Manumaleuna, a.k.a. Big Smooth, a.k.a. Cookie.
Welcome to Spark That Talk, names, brother.
But these, in the community and where we stay at, we know them simply as just B. So, B, we welcome you to the show, man. Welcome to Spark That Talk podcast, with me, J Latta, and of course, with the one who actually started this from the ground up, Mr. Jones, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good meeting or good talking to you guys. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good, solid, brother. Man. Welcome to Spark That Talk podcast, brother. Nice to meet you.
Oh, same here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
So like I said earlier, because this is dedicated to the draft, we just wanted to talk to you, and we're grateful for you and for accepting our call and actually being on this show. So we know that you were drafted in the 4th round, 2001 NFL draft to a team formerly known as the St. Louis, now the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep.
And you also had stints with the San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers.
I know.
And the Chicago Bears to cap off a wonderful 9 to 10 year NFL career. So just talking about that, man, I want to dive right into this draft thing, man. Like how did you feel, bro? I guess the week preparing up to the draft and then actually draft day. And when you finally got the call, where were you? Like, if you were shocked or whatnot?
Well, so the draft was Saturday morning. Back then it was the first 3 rounds. So I was at home with my family and everything. I didn't get drafted in the first 3 rounds. So next day being Sunday, everybody went to church or wherever they were going to be, and I stayed home because back then you had to call the house home. Mm-hmm. So I stayed home waiting for the phone call, and then about maybe an hour after everybody left, I got a call from Mike Martz, and they drafted me. Nice. So it was a great feeling. A lot of nervous energy, but it all worked out.
Awesome. So how did that work out? Like once you got drafted, like they sent for you to come fly right out, or what happened next?
Yeah. So like I got drafted on a Sunday. That following Thursday, I flew out there.
Awesome.
I was in St. Louis doing they had back then it was mini camp, and then you had OTAs and you had off season workouts. So once I got drafted, I flew out there that next week, and then that was it.
Did you know in the back of your mind you were gonna get drafted, or did you think you were gonna go undrafted? I mean, you had to stay by the phone for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have an idea that you were gonna get drafted.
Yeah, I had projections were telling me, it could be 2nd round, 3rd round. I mean, it was kind of all over the place. A couple people had me high. Some people had me a little lower. I mean, it just depended on what the team needed. And, I kind of felt I was going to go like maybe 4th, 5th rounds around there. And then it kind of played out like I thought it would.
Nice.
But, yeah, I was fortunate enough to have that happen. So I was glad.
Where did those nicknames come from? Big Cookie or Big Smooth? Big Cookie, bro.
So we when I was on the Chargers.
Funny story.
It was fun. So first of all, everybody used to. I was always considered a big tight end. So everybody used to laugh about me like, stop eating too much, blah blah blah. So it was always a little joke. So when I was in San Diego, we had the 21 personnel. It was two running backs, tight end, and two receivers. Well, it was certain plays that they would want me in instead of Gates, and so it was certain, so it was 21 personnel. But they were like, well, how do we know which 21 you want? And they was like, well, 21 Cookie, because they was like, he always eating cookies. So that's how. So 21 Cookie was me, and 21, just regular 21 was Gates. So
well, that's pretty dope for you to even be playing.
Everybody always called me Cookie. Yeah. So that's how I got the name Cookie off that personnel.
Dope, because speaking of the Chargers, I am a diehard Chargers fan. I've been rocking with them since San Diego. Now they are here in L.A. Because last week on our pod, we had my boy Mike Willie. He was drafted to the Chargers, I believe, back in 2012. He played there for 2 years. Yeah, so ever since then, I've been following the Chargers, and now that they here in L.A., it's pretty dope. And that we all know that Phillip Rivers just left after a 16-year career here with us. So with this draft coming up, they got a few people in their crosshairs like Tua and Justin Herbert. But right now we do have Tyrod Taylor. Now, do you feel like we should stick with what we have since he has been there playing under Rivers, or do you think it will be a better choice to go with something fresh and new?
As a football player, I think Tyrod's earned the right to possibly lead a team.
Right.
He's done it before in Buffalo, and he had opportunity in Baltimore. But if I'm just evaluating as an analyst, whatever you want to call it, I mean, if you're trying to really make a splash with the fan base and going into a new stadium, I think they kind of have to make a move at the quarterback position just to kind of make the face of the franchise.
To bring a little spice to the city, huh?
Yeah. So, sometimes people realize, like, everything's not always based on on your performance on the field. Like, if we feel this quarterback can sell more seats, we might kind of lean towards him. Because in the end of the day, the owners, that's what they want to do is make money. I don't think not necessarily the wins and losses is what makes them tick. It's the plus and minuses, So,
I mean, especially with our run over here at the Home Depot Center, the first couple of seasons have been hectic. Like, it's been a small stadium and haven't really been selling out.
The fans aren't really showing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's a downer, but I'm like, I don't know why San Diegoans don't come down here. I used to drive down there quite often to the games, but I understand it was heartbroken, but still.
They feel betrayed. And, I mean, I can't blame them. I mean, San Diego was a great city. I feel they supported the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get both sides of what they did, but in the end, you always want to stay loyal to your fan base. I think everything with time, they'll start to be like, okay, let's support our team again. But when things happen, it's kind of fresh in your mind. It's still
right.
That little anger towards the opposition.
True that. Now,
nice. Hey B, so
go ahead,
go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Jay.
So before your beautiful career in the NFL, you did attend the one and only Narbonne High School, the Bond.
Yes, the Mecca.
The Mecca. The best school out here in the South Bay.
Yes.
I'm just gonna put it out there like that. You were all-state player over there, of course.
Yeah. D-line.
That's what I wanted to get to. So you attended, then you got a scholarly out to University of Arizona. They're down Arizona, baby. U of A.
Yep.
But you went as a D lineman, correct?
I went. Well, they told me I could choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, they always tell you that, like, oh, you can come play whatever you want. So then I get on campus the first day of summer practice, and I look up and like, oh, I have number 90. I said, I guess I'm not playing tight end.
So what happened? So like you just started running routes one day after practice and whatnot?
I was playing D-line all the way until mid-year, and one of the backup tight end got hurt. And they only had one tight end for the whole game. And they're like, we don't have no other tight end. So I ended up going to tight end just as a backup role for numbers. And then we ran a lot of two tight end stuff. So I played a little bit just blocking and stuff. So I was actually playing D-line and tight end my freshman year. I played both ways.
Nice.
That's dope.
Yeah, so it was a good experience. But that following spring, my coach was like, "Look, you've earned." I basically kind of said I earned the right to choose, and I chose tight end. And I don't know if that was the best decision, but back then I wanted to catch the touchdowns and be on TV and all that. So.
I mean, 10-year career, I think that was a great decision. I'll tell you that from my point of view. But, I mean, even before that, Pops played in the NFL as well, correct?
Correct.
So Pops was a linebacker for the Chiefs?
Yeah, he played middle linebacker, and he played some running back in junior college, and then middle linebacker after that.
Nice. So growing up and going to school, were you treated differently because Pops was in the league? Did everybody look at you like, hey, can you autograph or something?
No, because the thing about it is, I mean, I kind of grew up, and when I grew up in Carson, majority of my life, and my dad was from the same area, so it was more of that's Big Frank's son, as opposed to people. They weren't really in awe. Basically, they already knew who he was. And, I was just kind of his kid. So everybody just knew me as Big Frank's son.
Well, there's another kid. There's another kid that had played for BYU named Ethan. Is he related to you?
Yes, that's my first cousin.
Oh, okay, nice.
So that's his dad. His dad and my dad are brothers.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. So I'm actually trying to get Ethan on this call afterwards.
Okay.
So me and Ethan grew up together. And,
okay.
So, and we basically got baptized the same day.
So you guys got a super football family.
Yeah. I mean, we tried.
You ain't got to be humble about it.
Yeah, y'all ain't trying. Y'all already doing it, man.
My family good at tennis, I tell you that. We just never been to the pros. So, recently, I think it was a couple of years now, you received an award, the Ring of Honor for football at the U of A, correct? And that's basically, there's a lot of things that you have to accomplish in order to get that, correct?
Yeah, they because I kind of was asking like, how do they just choose? I was just curious, and they kind of had like a little breakdown of some of the things on the checklist that you had to have done to be part of it, and I guess I did enough to do it, be a part of the Ring of Fame. So I was appreciative of it.
Nice. Man, the question I want to get to be honest, is how was LT, man? I mean, we know LT on the field as like the man, the one who runs the rock. You know what I mean? But like in the locker room, was he goofy? Was he funny? Or was he serious? Like, was he always standing like, Cookie, you gotta hey, get that chip block so I can run 100 yards this game or something?
Oh no, he wasn't like that at all. He's quiet. Never, you got two types of players. Like you got the kind of to get after their teammates, to yell at them, and it's a positive thing, but they just kind of raise their voice at him. LT wasn't like that. He was just quiet. He was kind of like, you come in the huddle, like, come on guys, let's do this. That type of thing. So he was always real humble, real funny guy. He's not a loud guy at all. He's quiet to himself. Who
was the funniest player you encountered or played with that we might not know as an audience?
You know what? It was pretty funny, like Kasim Osgood. I thought he was a pretty funny dude. Stephen Cooper I played with in San Diego. He was pretty hilarious. Dre Bly in St. Louis. He's a pretty funny guy. But a guy who's funny, and I didn't even realize it while I was his teammate, was I don't know if you know Anthony Adams. I think he goes by Spice Adams now.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
I just
watched
one of his videos. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we were on the Bears together, and I used to talk to him at practice and stuff, but I didn't really, it was funny. I just kind of like, hey, what's up, because I was the new guy to the team, and so I didn't really, I just kind of quiet to myself as well. And and then like after we retired, I talked to him a couple of times. Then I started seeing him on Instagram. I was like, this dude is hilarious.
Yeah, Spice Adams got the jokes.
Yeah, I didn't remember none of that when I was on the team. I was like, what was I doing?
I said, what was his jump shot like that? He said he wasn't shooting like that back on the team, over here making jokes and stuff.
Mr. Bigums, I think that's what his name is.
Yeah.
Something Bigums. That's funny. But yeah, brother, so life after the NFL, like, can you speak on that a little bit, like the stuff that you're into now?
Right now I'm just coaching, and that's about it. Just kind of debating whether I'm gonna go back to school, and just kind of basically just trying to keep busy. That's the biggest thing is when you retire, you don't realize how much free time you have, and it just kind of lets your mind can go. It's like the devil's playground when you got too much free time, so you got to force yourself to keep busy. So,
well, speaking on,
I'm just coaching,
go ahead,
just trying to help kids. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. No. We want to kind of, have you elaborate on that, because here on Spark That Talk, like Jones always says, we always talk about stuff that matters here on this podcast, and what matters in this podcast is the community. Now, you received many accolades, many awards during your lifetime in football, but I think something so special that people don't really realize is that you got an award, an accomplishment, and was recognized by the city of LA by Congresswoman Maxine Waters for your contribution to our youth, especially to the inner city kids. So receiving an award like that and being recognized is nothing. It's not a small feat. It may be to a lot of people, but within the community and those that you help, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know that. Like, what did that mean to you? And like, what basically did you do in order to receive something like that?
I think the biggest thing that I was, not just me. I mean, it's a group of people, but we were just able to kind of hone in on the requirements to go to college. And, I mainly dealt with athletes just because I was a coach. And I was an athlete as well, so I just kind of relate on that level. But it's just basically figuring out what these kids need to do to go to college, all the requirements they're going to need, and just basically mapping it out for them and helping them accomplish it all. And it's just kind of, a couple kids did it, and then, it kind of became the cool thing, you know what I mean? And now all the kids want to do it, and all the kids want to work towards it, and all the kids are, I want to be like this person that just win, you know what I mean? It's just kind of try to build a tradition to where these kids kind of push each other, and that was the biggest thing, because I'm like, look, we got, and, I know being a parent is not easy, so, and there's a lot of things that they're responsible for, so we just try to fill in the gaps, or me and people I dealt with try to fill in the gaps where the parents maybe could basically, take the mantra of it's going to take to make all these kids successful. So let me do my part. Obviously they don't live with me, but when he's at home with you, make sure this is what he does. And when he's with me, I'm going to make sure this is what he does. And we just kind of built this, I don't even know what to call it. We just built a system to where we can try to help these kids. And it's kind of been working.
Yeah, that's
over
definitely...
the last, I've been in Narbonne 9 years.
Okay.
And over those 9 years, we've gotten maybe over 60 kids to college, which is, 60 or I don't know what you call it, inner city, minority, whatever you want to call it. But that's 60 free educations that normally these kids wouldn't have had.
Damn.
I think that's awesome, bro. Clap it up for you on that one, brother, because
hell yeah,
we talk about that quite often, how in the communities we grow up in, from Long Beach to Compton, even Harbor City, areas like that, sometimes sports is one of the main things a lot of kids lean towards because of their situations at home. They may not be as great, or they're just trying to find their way to kind of dodge the shenanigans out here that we all know is heavy in the city, from gang banging to selling drugs to even drug use. So it's definitely important to have people like you in the community, in these schools, helping these students, because of sports, like, especially when I played, because I went to Long Beach, Jordan. And you may have played in 9th grade, but come 10th grade, you done lost half the team to the streets already. And that happens quite often because they get into the lifestyle, because for one, it's outside their front door and they leave the house. Also, like you said, a lot of parents are busy on other things that kind of lose sight on and lose track of what their child is doing. So it's good to have coaches like you out here and other people who zone in on that fact, because that saves lives. And like you said, help them get into college, free rides, all that kind of stuff, where a lot of these kids don't come from money at all. So that's definitely a good thing, brother.
No, I tell the kids, like, I try to be an example for them as best I can. I'm not perfect, obviously, but like, look, I was in your same scenarios, your same surroundings. If I'm able to do these things, you definitely can do it. you know. And the fact that we have people from your area that have made it, that are here presenting these options to you,
Mm-hmm.
you should run with them. You should run with
Exactly.
them and be gone. You know, that's why I tell, don't be. A lot of people are afraid to go past the 17 freeway, and I'm like, just go. There's a whole nother world out there.
Yeah, because you know how it is here in LA. A lot of people don't leave a four-corner block, and that's all they know. So
Exactly.
they tend to not
Exactly.
see the bigger picture, and that's like one of the biggest issues I think I have when it comes to the community, because I don't feel like it's enough resources available to teach the youth. Like, there's bigger and better things out here besides where you live or where you grew up, and to have people who's been in the world experience things to be able to come and show them, look, I've done this, you can do it as well, and you can even do better than me. So don't think that just because of your circumstance that you don't have a chance out here. And that's all these kids really needs, a little push, a little motivation to get them through, because I'm pretty sure you done encountered a few of your athletes who's been, in the balance, not knowing which way they going to go. And maybe a word of encouragement or something from you or something like that help them make a better decision in the long run.
Yes. No, I agree. And,
go ahead.
No, I say that, and that's the thing. Like, you groom these kids to try and be as best as they can in the community and just as citizens, and hopefully that it'll show its face back again when it's their turn to do this.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yeah, I believe your situation B is unique because it's like Jones was saying, man. Like, these kids, they use sports basically as a gateway drug to get away from whatever they experiencing in life, like all that hard stuff. Like, football is really not hard because it comes natural to them, but because your situation, you've been in the league, like they're striving for that, so it's easier to listen to somebody like you because you've been there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And mind you, I don't tell these kids about. I mention it to the league and I tell them how fun it is and how hard you got to work and all this, but the league is not guaranteed. Even if you are with the best athlete,
Right.
everybody's always one injury away. That's how I got released. I got hurt and I couldn't pass the physical. So it's just one of those things. But you can't replace the 4 to 5 years of free education, of the experience of being on a college campus, having to deal with other people outside your neighborhood, outside your ethnicity. I mean, all these things that these kids learn at these campuses that'll propel them onto whatever they decide to do. It's something that they can't learn anywhere else. That's just my opinion.
No, I'm so glad you pushed that because
I agree.
I'm not saying a lot of coaches are pushing for the NFL, but I know a lot of coaches are pushing for the next level, which is college. But they haven't been in that position to actually tell them how college life is. You know what I mean? But you have. Yes. So it's cool to have you break down to some of these, or to a lot of these kids who are now at 4 years, like how it is at first, so that, that becomes the goal. It's not to go play football, but it's actually to live that college life and get a degree. And, I to myself, I never thought about going to the league, but I was taught at a young age, which I'm grateful for my coaches, parents, those who I surrounded myself with, was go to college because you should get that degree and live that college life, that lifestyle, to understand that getting that degree and mingling with other people that's outside of your ethnicity. You're not just surrounded by, just the blacks and the Mexicans or the Hispanics or the Polynesians. You got to branch yourself out and understand.
And that's exactly. And that's the thing. Like, we have so much tension in the world, and I feel like it's because of a lack of understanding of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I get along with other people, other races, because I'm understanding of their culture, and I don't judge and I don't look down on it. And that's the thing. A lot of people are unaware of other cultures and ethnicities and other things, to where it kind of becomes they're scared of them as opposed to embracing it.
Yes. Living in fear is not the way. I mean, that's true. I mean, especially when you just stay in your own community, you don't know how to react to other people. And you got to learn how to talk to people and be around people, because that's the only way you can really push through life, and opportunity comes from that. You got to know how to interact and be cordial and respectful to other people, and not always feel like someone's out to attack you. And
exactly.
Don't
get me wrong. Like, I know situations come up, And of course, you got to react when you got to react, but at the
Yes.
same time, do it with a educated, you know what I'm saying? Education, like an educated guess, educated, backing of what you're actually going to do, what you're thinking. Like, just don't do it off of, oh, he disrespected me. Like, no, he didn't. Like, really break down the situation and let's go
weigh out the pros and cons and how you about to react, because it could be life changing.
Exactly.
Before we get super deep into this conversation about the youth and stuff and the community, sorry, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back to football, man.
Yeah.
No, well,
did you have a on the top of your head? Do you have a favorite moment, whether it be in the league or whether it be at at the U of A or maybe even in high school? Did you have a favorite football moment?
I had some good ones in the NFL. A couple comeback from behind victories that were pretty cool. I was able to play in the Super Bowl one year. That was a great experience.
Oh, dope. Who was you playing for that year?
St. Louis.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know the Chargers never been, so I don't even know why I asked.
No, we had some good Charger teams. We just couldn't get over that last little hump.
Yeah, we still in the same predicament right now. We still in the same predicament. Got a great team and then just can't get there. But I'm praying we get there soon, because this resurgence we about to have with this new stadium, I hope it does something to us.
Yeah. I mean, the organization is great. It's just, you just got to get the fans behind it. But, like I tell people, winning cures everything. So let the Chargers start out 8-0. I guarantee you that the StubHub will be crowded, or the Health whatever stadium will be crowded.
You have one great story for us? One great story in the NFL that you can't I know there's a lot of stuff you want to keep to yourself.
Do I have a great story?
Whether it be with a teammate or whatnot, just something for the people.
I'm trying to think, man. You put me on the spot. I can't even think of anything right now. No, I don't have any. Nothing.
So good. Once we go off here, you can tell me all that.
Yeah, I was saying nothing radio friendly.
I know. I'm already knowing. Like, hey, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I feel it.
But
yeah,
keep it solid.
But B, man, we really appreciate you tapping in with us, man. And everybody knows Brandon as the football player, as All-American, But we really wanted to get and touch bases with you on the thing outside of football, which was getting in touch with the youth, the community, doing your due diligence. It's like you one of those guys that many football players have been doing, is coming back to the community and bettering it. And you've done that on the football perspective, but you also done it with these kids, like you said, man, 60 dudes getting scholarships, and now they're at 4 years, and you blessed them with that. And,
Man, I ain't gonna say I blessed them, but I laid out the plan for them and they stuck to it. So, I mean, it's
which it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. I mean, inner city.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
For all of us,
it's definitely hard.
We don't want to focus on that. We just want to focus on playing ball, but we can't focus on school at the same time. Like, it's kind of hard for some of those kids, but you got them to do that. So, which is cool. I know Jones is an avid Charger fan, and man, he had two ex-Charger players on this podcast back to back. So,
yes, sir.
Man, I don't know, Jones. What's up with you, bro?
Hey, man, you know what it is.
Raider dudes on here, bro.
It's boat gang, baby. You know what time it is.
It's a Raider guy. You talking about winning on here, though, right?
You know what? I'm going to have to get Namdi on this podcast, man. I need him to motivate me to continue with this one, man.
I was about to say, we're talking about being successful. We can't talk about the Raiders on here.
Dang.
Come on, man.
They get a couple of wins and then think they the best.
Chucky will fly high, baby. Me and Chucky will fly high. I'm going to tell you this. Me and Jones went to the Charger game last year.
Yeah, the Charger Raiders.
Up the StubHub. And we was talking about winning and stuff. You just talked about winning, and man, that was.
It's all right. Like, just one loss ain't gonna hurt nothing, man. But the only thing about that whole game was, like I said, we got to get resurgence with our fans out here. So anybody listening that rock with the Chargers from San Diego, y'all need to just fly on down, drive down here, whatever you got to do. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to go to a Chargers Raider game and I see nothing but black jerseys. It was almost depressing, but I still was rocking my stuff, cheering and all that. I didn't care the repercussions, man.
I hope all three Charger fans heard that, bro, and they follow suit.
You a wild dude, man.
You and Herm, y'all can do your thing, man. But
Well,
B,
we
we appreciate you, man, for
real,
tapping
bro.
in, man. Thank you so much. I know you're driving right now, and it's it's difficult to.
I'm good. I'm good.
To hop on and stuff, man. But do you have any last words for? I know most of your messages is towards the youth, but you have any last words for them that they could encourage them to do well? And
the biggest thing that I think for kids and just even adults, young adults my age is just you gotta set goals for yourself. That's the biggest thing. I find myself, and I try to tell kids I work with, like, if write down things, write it down. Like, write down things you have. Like, I'm big on like writing down like my plans for the week or my plans for the month, stuff like that. And I feel like writing it down and put it in your little log book or whatever. But just write down your goals. Always keep track of your goals. Keep that in mind, because your daily, what you do daily is going to affect those goals. So if your goal is, I want to have 1,000 yards rushing, if that's your goal, okay, cool. Well, you have this goal. You have these goals written down as something close to you, okay? But you're about to go to McDonald's with all your friends and order fries and this and that. Well, is this going to help lead to your goal? Like, nah, it's not. Okay, well, that's a reminder that maybe I don't need to eat this. And now that's something small, but it's always something that you're going to be doing that's going to either help you towards your goals or take you further away from them. So I always say, write down your goals and keep them near you in your wallet, or just have it on your phone somewhere, something like on the screensaver on your phone. So every time, like, okay, my friends are about to roll this up and smoke this, like, this don't match with my goals. I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? It's just something like that where it kind of keeps you in check as far as how you take care of your body, mentally and physically, and just it keeps you at ultimate health, your ultimate health up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the biggest thing I tell people: have goals, always edit your goals, and always keep them written down and keep them close to you. So whatever you do throughout that day, it's gonna either help you get to that goal or take you further away from it. But that's for you to decide. But keep your goals near you so you'll be able to make that decision without 2 a.m. when you get home, be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. But
it's gonna be a long morning.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have you don't have your goals near you to remind you, like, okay. So that's just something I always try to do, and I always try to tell kids. It's like, whatever your goals and expectations, write it down and keep them close to you. So it's a reminder of how you need to act when you're out and about with friends, at home by yourself, whatever the case may be.
Amen.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate them words. I think I'm gonna start doing that myself, writing them down and just checking in on it every now and then. Because
the biggest thing, like, because I'll have goals that I want to do for the year, for the month, and if I don't write it down, like a week later, I'll forget I even thought about it.
It's over.
You know what I mean? And that's just me. Like, so for a younger kid, write it down, put it on your phone, like, make it the home screen on your phone. You have like a little list, and you just kind of click the little side button and be like, oh, damn, this is okay. Let me, you know what I mean? It's just a little reminder to keep you focused. That's all.
Thank you. So to all you youngsters listening, pay attention. Matter of fact, it don't matter how old you are. Write your goals down, check in on them, change them as you go, get better, and make sure you keep yourself accountable. That's really what that's about, because ain't nobody else going to keep you accountable for your own situations. If you got...
And that's the thing I try to tell kids, like, look, I'm only with you from about when during the season when I'm coaching up at the school, I'm only with you from 12 noon till about 5:30 in the evening. And then after that, I don't see you again till the next day at 12. So I can't speak for what you do when you're not there. So that's when you got to be accountable for yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, man. Hey, again, B, we appreciate you being on this podcast, man. On this podcast. I mean, you know, next time I see you, man, I want to hear some dirt, bro, on the NFL news stories. All right. I mean, shoot, that hit home when you were talking about, you know, you kind of wish you didn't show up 2 a.m. the next morning, and that's what it was in college when you had when I slept in during the football checkups the next morning.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but
It'd be like
you know what I'm saying? We got
meet a couple.
yeah. You gotta hold yourself accountable, and that's it. The only thing that's gonna help you, and that's just me personally, is just having it written down or having somewhere where I can actually see it, and I'm like, oh damn, let me, you know what I'm saying, let me check myself real quick. So
I feel it, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you be safe during this pandemic, brother.
You guys too, guys as well. I get so bored. I have to take my little daily drive, so I'm just driving around. I really have nowhere I'm going. I'm just driving to.
For real.
I just want to get some fresh air, let the air blow on my face for a little bit, and I'm gonna sit right back in the house.
That's good, brother. Stay safe,
tell
brother.
moms I miss her, man. Love her.
I definitely will.
Tell her stop. No more birthday gifts for my kids because it's all UCLA gear. You know, I'm a Trojan fan through and through, baby. So, but I do appreciate the gesture, man. So, hey, we'll tap in with you next time, brother. And again, be safe.
Okay, you guys do. You guys have a good a good weekend.
You too.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it,
brother.
Man. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.